Is it a quote that happiness lives in the expectations or something like that?
Well, if it is, it sucks. You got more?
I got my ass kicked again in therapy this week.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah, she did it again. Oh, buddy, where do I even begin?
At the beginning. What happened?
So there I was, a young boy in Ohio. No, not that beginning?
No.
Okay.
You haven't been young in a while.
That's very true.
In a while.
I'm young at heart.
Well,
Maybe.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, you eat a lot of chicken nuggets, but you know.
Hey, keeps me young. So I'm in therapy, and we're talking about projects and business stuff at first.
Yep.
I'm just kind of unpacking something that happened to me recently in exchange with business and friendship kind of thing. Not you.
I know.
Okay.
I wasn't worried.
Well, I just thought I'd clear that up.
Yeah. Your therapist knows you talk about me. My phone starts ringing, doesn't it? Because she says, "Hey, Daddy."
No.
Little boy's running that goddamn mouth again, right?
That's what you think happens?
I know that's what happens. You out of your mind? Your therapist knows what's going on.
Oh my God. So we're talking about business.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do we get into this? So we're talking about projects, and I did a project a couple years ago called Monsters, where I sit down with comics and I talk about the trauma that's hiding behind their punchlines.
Yeah, we're not plugging things here, but go ahead.
That's not a plug. I'm just saying, if you want to see it, it's on YouTube, and there's 5 episodes, and they're each themed, and they're great.
They're fine.
So I'm talking about that, and she brings it back around, and she goes, "So what's your monster?" And I was like, "Well, grief, duh."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean."
She said, "Really now?"
Anytime a professional therapist says, "Really?" You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm wrong."
That's always a great moment, though.
Yeah. Is that the
So
wrong answer?
do you like it or no when you know your therapist is about to call you on some shit and challenge you?
Oh, buddy, I get excited a little bit.
I get anxious.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm gonna have to say something I don't want to say, and he knows it, and I know it.
That kind of anxious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I know. He's like, "Really no?" And then I know like something's gonna come up, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to say what he knows I don't want to say.
See,
I get a little anxious.
I'm curious. I can't wait to hear it. I'm that kind of anxious.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, tell me.
Yeah. Well, some of us have the gift of insight to ourselves, right? Like we know when we come off anxious to people.
Yeah.
I know you don't have that. Go ahead. What'd you say? She said, "Really?" And then what'd you say?
"Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I got the championships ring, baby." I go, "Moms, dads, grandmas, everybody. I got the big ones."
Yeah.
And she goes, I think you're masking with grief. And I said,
Interesting.
"What?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, I think it's a front. I think that grief is a cover."
I love it.
She talks to me in like 90s hip hop terms.
Yeah.
I think you fronting.
Yeah.
And I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, because grief is something that nobody's really comfortable talking about or to somebody about. So with you saying grief, then it keeps people away because they don't know. They're like, "Oh, okay, I got to get the fuck out of here."
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna ask him about his dead mom.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah.
And so she goes, "I think grief is kind of guarding the door." She goes, "What's your real monster?" I was like, "Oh fuck."
You didn't say your penis, did you?
I should have. That would have been, if there's ever a time.
That was a great setup.
That's the perfect time. What's your real monster? Let me show you.
This dick, baby.
No, I said.
First of all, good job not saying that.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm growing. Again, this dick, baby.
Yeah, right.
Right. Anyways.
Question.
Yeah.
A little off track. Having a big dick,
Okay.
when it gets hard, does it actually get bigger or does it just get hard?
It gets bigger.
Jesus Christ.
For a while, I thought I was a
It's like compound interest.
I thought I was a grower, not a shower, for a long time.
And you're both now?
Yeah, like as I get older, the dick just has. I think it just has less energy, so he's just kind of like
So
hanging
now
out more.
you're a grower and a shower now.
Yeah,
That's unfucking real.
stop wearing underwear. It's
No,
it's
you
holding
know
you
what?
back.
I understand why you don't buy Powerball tickets now. You won. You won the fucking lottery, you cunt.
That underwear is holding you back. Release the Kraken.
I mean, it's holding me in, dog.
You got any?
I got balls. You know? I can't be loose in the pants. That's not
Really?
For me. That's not for me.
Oh man, I can't be tied up. I can't be restrained. I don't like it.
I know. I can see your dick from across the street. It's fucking unreal, dude.
He hits the crosswalk button for
I
me.
know. All right. So your
All right.
therapist said, "What's your monster?"
Yeah, and I didn't pull out my dick. And I said,
Good job.
probably body image issues. Because I've never really been comfortable in my body. I never feel like I fit in or look good, no matter what I change 3 or 4 times before I go out. And even when I show up to the event and I feel good about myself leaving the house, as soon as I'm there, I'm like, what the fuck am I wearing? Why am I wearing this? Like,
Yeah.
I constantly never feel like I fit in. It's more like self-image than it is body issues, probably.
Okay.
It's just more.
What do you mean by that? By self-image?
I just never think I look okay.
So it's not about.
It's not necessarily my body where I'm like,
Hold on a second. Did you hear that? We might have to check the playback. But
that's me talking.
it sounded like I can't be sure, but it sounded like you started talking while I was still motherfucking talking.
Is that what it sounded like?
Sounded like it.
Because that's what happened.
Why are you interrupting me? I have ADHD. I'm a cunt. Hey, fuck monkey. Shut your goddamn lips while I'm talking.
Wow, you're on one today.
Buddy, I don't even know what I was saying now. What'd you say?
Oh, now you want me to talk?
Yeah, what'd you say?
So
Refresh me.
It's not necessarily body image issues. It's more body.
You don't like how you look.
Right.
Right. So stop talking. So it's not necessarily the shape or physique or size of you. It's your presentation. Right? Did you hear the question mark? Not because I wasn't done.
There's more?
It's more of your presentation as a whole to the world. It's your overall confidence. Question mark?
Yes, but there's a little splash of body image in there as well, because growing up overweight and all that fun stuff. So there's a little splash of that just for fun. Yeah.
It's really annoying because you're very skinny. Real annoying.
Yeah, but I'm not happy.
No one is.
Does that make you feel better?
No.
Yeah.
Nobody's happy. Do you think anybody's happy?
Oh yeah. There's happy people out there.
Wow, where?
I don't know, but they're fucking. I run into them every once in a while, and I'm like, hey, you know it all sucks, right?
So when you say you run, when you say you run into people that are happy, how do you register that they're happy? Is it like an energy? Is it an aura? Is it like what they're telling you? Like where are you getting it?
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's an aura. It's a thing around them. They're just like, isn't it great? And you're like, no, it's all shit.
I never met anybody like that.
Yeah, I kind of look at happy people the same way I look at religious people.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just too dumb to realize it's all shit. Like, it's all bad. It's all bad.
What's all bad?
Just life.
Your life or life?
Just life in general. It's all shit, right?
No.
Oh, you're a happy person?
No.
So which is it?
Well, I think it's possible that I understand that it's not all shit, but I'm still not happy. I don't think those are mutually exclusive.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I had a talk with my therapist last week. I kind of prefaced it last week that we had a real existential thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my therapist basically, he said I understand too much. And I think that's kind of like what we're talking about when you say everything's shit. I think in the big picture, it's real bad. The world is not in a good place. Our particular society is, it's not a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, I feel like those kinds of things are on a macro level, but I think if you go micro, and if you're able to, this is something I really struggle with, if you're able to just focus on your own little bubble, then I do think you can be happy if you're able to just enjoy having a home and not worrying about having food. Like if you're able to enjoy just having what you need and not desiring for more, I really think that's where happiness is. I think that's a kind of like an old Buddhist saying. Like on one side is what you need, the other side is what you desire. And if you can hang in the middle, you'll find true happiness. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But that is something that I strive for. So yeah, I do think that in the big picture everything's shit, but I don't think that means you can't be happy.
I agree with that.
Well, that's what I do, baby.
Okay.
Change minds
You know
one
what?
at a time.
Can I disagree now?
You can, but we know you're fucking lying, right? Papa Bear can smell a liar. Liar.
Oh my God.
Liar. You agreed, and it's okay. It's okay. Papa Bear enlightened you.
Yeah, you can be happy in the gray.
Yeah, the gray. I struggle to be in the gray. I've just always been such a black and white person. I really am trying to get into the gray area of life, and that things aren't supposed to be any kind of way. There's no right or wrong way. It's just there's always a way that somebody's going to do something, and that's okay.
Is it a quote that happiness lives in the expectations or something like that?
Well, if it is, it sucks. You got more? Is that the whole quote?
Because I think it's something like that, right? Because if you take away the expectations, then you'll probably always be happy because you're not expecting anything, right? If you're not...
Yeah. I think it's the same principle of just being happy with what you have and not desiring more than what you need. It's probably something similar. Similar message, different words.
Yeah. I'm just out here trying to live, laugh, love, you know?
Good luck, dude. Hey, spoiler alert, he's not doing it.
Hey, man.
You know?
And that's okay.
He's taking my punchlines now, but my catchphrases. And we know that, don't we? Now, body image. Really struggle with it myself.
Yeah.
I actually did, coincidentally, ironically, whatever, pick a word, talk about it this week in therapy. And Yeah, that's really something I struggle with. I don't know if it's that it affects my happiness. I mean, I'm sure it does. I don't know. I think it also just affects my peace of mind. But yeah, I really struggle with it. It's actually, so this past therapy session yesterday for me was my 6 month check-in, and the two things when we started, the two things that I said I wanted to focus on were self-love and body image. And those were two things that have very rarely come up in the past 6 months, which was interesting. And I think I intentionally kind of just steered away from those because they're two things that I really struggle with, and that makes them two things that are very hard to talk about.
That's so interesting. You would think that those would be the things that you want to talk about the most in therapy to like solve or work on or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'd love to get them fixed. I just want to talk about it to do it. You know, I think I hope to just like pick up tips here and there without actually having to be like,
Yeah.
Hey man, my clothes are always tighter than everybody else's, and I felt weird in elementary school. Like, who wants to say that out loud?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't like talking about it. And like this past week, we were just talking about like words. Let me go. Like, he asked me, he's like, how do you feel about the word overweight? And I was like, doesn't bother me. You know, how do you feel about the word fat? I was like, don't like that word at all. Do not like it. And he asked me why not. And the only thing I could come up with, and I don't know why this is, for me, the word fat, it feels so cruel.
Oh, yeah.
And he brought up the point that a lot of people now are like trying to reclaim that word as like, I'm a fat person and I'm okay with it. And I get it, because if you can make a cruel word, make it your own and take the pain away, that doesn't work for me. I don't like that word. I don't call other people that word. I don't do it because I think it's really cruel and hurtful. And I never realized that before. Same with the word obese. Don't like it. Thick, good with thick, good, fine with heavy. But fat and obese are like, they just, and we talked about the word obese a lot, and you hear it because it's a medical term.
Yeah.
And you hear people talking about, you'll always have these people talking about obesity, and they're talking like they know what they're talking about, when really it's just a word for them. It's just like a way to describe a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's so odd to me to categorize somebody with like a medical word when you don't know. Like, hey, have you considered that person started eating when their mom died when they were a kid and that's how they coped? And maybe it's not a medical thing. Maybe they just have something they started doing when they were a kid and never learned how to cope a different way. You know? Yeah, so we talked about words. You go. I'm done.
I just think it's interesting that the two words that you're okay with are more object related than they are human related. Fat and obese kind of go with humans, right? Medical terms and cruelty and this and that. But the two words you're okay with, thick and heavy, you can describe a couch that way. You can describe a fucking, they're objects. They're not necessarily human traits. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with your psyche about connecting them to why you're okay with them, because you don't feel like they necessarily attack you or describe you because they're not really aligned with human things.
Maybe. He also brought up the point. He's like, yeah, thick has kind of become a term that is, it's like a sexy thing to be thick.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, that wouldn't make sense why I'll pass that one off. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get very uncomfortable when people use fat.
Yeah.
I use it against myself because
Yeah, I do too.
I hate myself.
Yeah, I do that. I'll call myself a fat piece of shit all day.
Yeah.
Don't faze me. I'll do it again.
But I get really uncomfortable if I was hanging out in a group and somebody's like, look at that fat guy over there. I'd be like,
Don't like it.
Don't
Do not
fucking
like
do
it.
that. Please don't do that.
We have a friend that refers to themselves. Herself. It's a woman.
Yeah.
As fat. And every time she does it, it just like...
In a proud way or just like in a demeaning way? Like what?
As just an adjective.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's in self-hatred. It's just a way that she describes herself and she's fine with it.
Oh, so instead of saying I'm a big girl, they say I'm a fat girl.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And every time I hear it, I'm just like, why do you talk to yourself like that? But I don't get, like, it's not up to me for her to decide what hurts her feelings or whatever.
Right.
So, although sometimes I just don't like it, and I want to be like, hey, don't do that to yourself. But if it's not a thing for her, then what do I have to, what do I have to say about it?
That self-talk is interesting because that's what connected so the discovery in my therapy this week was, I have terrible self-talk. I'm always so negative against myself. I'm never happy with, again, what I look like, how I'm dressed, how I'm presenting, all of those things.
It's because you suck. Go ahead.
Yeah. But
that was a joke, everybody.
We were talking about why or where I learned that from and everything. And growing up, my mother was that way. My mother had terrible self-talk. You would never hear my mother say that she was happy with herself or that she felt like she looked good. She was always, she would spend literally hours on her hair. She would change her outfits all the time.
Can I stop you?
Mm-hmm.
Just for the record, your mother had an impeccable afro.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, for the time she put in, kudos.
Yeah, incredible.
Okay, go ahead.
And if she was here, she would say, it's not an afro, it's a perm.
Well, it's real round.
It's fucking afro.
It's a sphere on your head.
Yeah.
Looks great.
So
Looks great, Mrs. S. We love you.
So she was, always changing her clothes. She was ordering things out of magazines and they would come in the mail and then she'd try them on and she'd hate them and she'd throw them out or she'd send them back. Like she just was never happy with herself. And I grew up around that. It was never towards me though. I was always handsome and looks great and you're great and like all those things. Always positive towards me, but towards herself, it was always, there's a story.
Let me.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, she would do it out loud.
Oh yeah.
And in front of whoever was around. Like it wasn't something she reserved for.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
This story. So I was talking to my aunt years after my mother passed, and we're just kind of trading stories about her and this and that. And she brought up when Mom went shopping for her wedding dress to get married to Wayne. Mm-hmm. And they're out, and my mom's trying on these dresses, and she comes out of the dressing room, and she looks incredible. And my aunt's telling her how great the gown looks and all these things. And my mother's happy, and she's looking in the mirror, and then she starts like really looking at it, and then she starts staring at herself in the mirror in this beautiful wedding gown and singing the song, "Look at that fat sewer rat."
Wow.
Out loud to herself in this beautiful wedding gown. And that story breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah, that's so sad.
And so I'm telling my therapist this. And she said, well, what would you tell your mom if you could? And I was like, well, I would tell her she's beautiful and she looks great. And I would tell her that all the time, that she looked fantastic and her outfits were great. And we would go shopping together and I would pick stuff out for her. And like, I was always so positive with her because I know she was so negative with herself. Mm. And my therapist said, why don't you do that for yourself?
And what's the answer to that question? Why don't you?
I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
Yeah. She's like, all those things you wish you could say to your mom now, say them to yourself. So I got to grow an afro. I mean, that's the only answer. Self-love, I think, for me.
It's too late.
It's too late, I know. But yeah, I thought, I mean, it hit me with, and then of course she's like, well, that's our time. See you next week. And I was like, yep, fucking A. Did it to me again.
So since then, have you tried any of that self-talk?
I felt way better about myself. Yeah.
So what I asked you was, have you tried any of that self-talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it works, huh?
So far. Self-talk is key, man.
Yeah.
Are you mean to yourself? I mean, you're terrible to me, but how
you're a piece of shit. How do you treat a human piece of shit?
How are you to yourself, though, you know?
Not great. Yeah, not great. But I kind of talked about this in an earlier episode. We have a friend that sits in front of the mirror and just says, I love you to herself. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the same. Anytime I do try and I put the cognizant effort in to do positive self-talk, anything like that, it feels so embarrassing. It feels so silly.
Yeah.
And why? It's just me. What am I embarrassed about? You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's something we talked before. It's just men aren't conditioned to sit there and be nice to yourself. Like you fucking deal with it and you get on with your day. There's shit to be done.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that even when I do get with like I'll get out of the shower and I'll be looking in the mirror and I'll be like, dude, your shoulders are getting big. Like your chest is getting big. Like your arms look good. And then I'll turn to the side and be like, you fat fuck, do a sit up, you know? And it's like, I can't let myself have it. I can't just leave it at the positives. I have to be like, hey, great. Don't forget about that fucking gut you got.
You know what's interesting? Because I was just going to ask you this, and I remember that my therapist asked me this. Mm. Whose voice is that?
Mine.
That's what I thought.
Oh, here we go. Whose voice is it?
I don't know. I thought it was me because I'm an asshole towards myself. This and that. And she goes, it's not your voice. She's like, that's somebody else. And she goes, how about this? How about we name that person?
How about what?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard this too before when the idea, now this is going to get fucking heady, but like the idea of that you are not your body, you are not your mind, you are merely the observer. Mm-hmm. And so that plays into like when you are out and about in the world and you have that voice in your head that goes, oh, that's a really cool tree. And you hear yourself say that in your head. Mm-hmm. That's not you. You're merely observing that thought, which makes sense because you're not.
No, it sure doesn't. Go ahead.
You're not the one saying that. You're hearing that. Somebody else is saying that. Like that's.
So when you're talking right now, and in my head I'm going, what a dumb thing to say. Who's saying that?
I don't know, but I don't like him.
Damn.
You're merely observing those thoughts. And so that's the idea of like when you're talking about this self-talk and she's asking me whose voice that is. It's the critic. It's the voice that everybody talks about having in their head, that little critic guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you are not your thoughts, which is such a mind fuck.
Yeah. But I feel like I am my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I fucking live in my head, man. I struggle so bad with just being present in the world. I am so much in my head. And I hate it. I'm like a prisoner of my thoughts.
There's a great book called The Untethered Soul. And I love this book.
Did you read the whole thing?
I did.
Okay. Did you read it or listen to it?
I listened to it on hikes. It's fucking incredible.
Okay.
And it talks a lot about the observer and how you can control that and get rid of it if you want it, all these things.
Okay.
Incredible book. I love this book. I hate recommending it because the cover art is so shitty. If you're going to Google this book right now and you're like, I got to look this book up, just know that the cover art is such shit. It's a fucking horse running on the beach. It's the dumbest, like, Hallmark fucking movie thing you'll ever see. The book itself is incredible.
That's actually good you brought that up, Keith, because a bad cover, I won't read it.
Dude, if somebody were to suggest this book to me and I looked it up and there was a fucking horse running in the ocean, I'd be like, well, not for me now, is it?
Yeah.
So I just want to preface it. Fuck the cover.
Yeah.
It's an incredible book. Game changer. The other game changer, which I'm reading right now, is The Mountain Is You.
You're listening to it.
I am listening to it. The Mountain Is You. And fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Do you have anything to share from the book? I'm not being a dick. I didn't know if you...
Oh, man. Yeah. I have lots I could share. This chapter that I just listened to the other day was talking about how, and we've talked about this in private, how like the idea of like time works and how everything's kind of happening at once, right? And how...
I don't understand that at all, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm way too stupid.
You gotta watch Loki on Disney. It's great.
Oh, I sure don't.
It'll tell you everything you need to know about time.
Daddy doesn't do Marvel. Don't give a fuck.
So, but it was really interesting talking about how you can ask your future self to sit down with you and meet you in a place in your mind, obviously. And they can give you gifts to help you out and help you realize what you need to be doing on decisions about leading to your future and all the other things, your goals and blah, 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 blah. But also what's interesting is it talks about you being able to meet past you as well to help with healing. And so you can, just as future self is giving you gifts and guidance, you can do that for past self. And I thought that was super interesting. And so you can ask past self to meet you somewhere in your mind, and you really visualize them and what age and what you look like and all of those things. And you can tell them things or have them, you can warn them about things if you'd like. You can give them gifts, all these crazy things. And it'll help heal some of those, some of that trauma in your childhood.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to pick a place. You got to...
Jesus Christ, this fucking guy.
I'm always running late, you know.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In the spirit of body image and confidence, with your lack of confidence and your struggle with body image, How did you end up performing for a living for so long?
That's an easy one. Acceptance.
Yeah, you just push through all the feelings and you're like, I'll get it from them.
Yeah. I need everybody, and we've talked about, I need everybody to love me.
Yeah, nobody does, but yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so it's not really, I don't know if confidence has anything to do with performing.
What? Has everything to do with it. Are you serious?
When you think of these entertainers, you think of confidence, but really they're just riddled with anxiety and they're a fucking mess. A lot of people can't perform without drinking and shit like that. Like,
But you didn't have anxiety until last week, and you never drank.
that's right.
So, what are we doing?
Only child, need attention.
Oh yeah, that's true. Were you always class clown growing up, or were you reserved in school?
I don't know if it was class clown really, but like, yeah, I was always trying to fit in. I just kind of rolled with everybody, you know?
You're like a social chameleon?
Yeah.
Oh, you were never like yourself.
Right.
Oh, you were annoying. That's what that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you talk to anybody in high school?
In high school?
Yeah,
Like 3 people.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're talking to the homecoming and prom king.
You were prom king?
Mm-hmm.
How many people were at your high school? 6?
My graduating class was 73 people.
Oh, of course you were prom king. Shit, I could be prom king at a petting zoo. The fuck?
And homecoming king.
And
Same year.
homecoming king. Wow, couldn't throw a football, but he was homecoming king.
That's right, baby.
Good for you. That's awesome.
But that's just because I ran in all the circles.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Were you really reserved?
Oh, yeah. I was really quiet. Growing up in elementary school, always class clown. Always class clown. Always, was always really good at sports. So, like, I would always get picked first at recess or in PE because, like, I was always a fat kid, but so athletic. I was like an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you play?
Everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I played basketball until I got both my ears pierced and the coach told me to take my earrings out, and I quit basketball.
Well, yeah, Shane O'Connor's not welcome on this court.
That's right.
Yeah, I played organized. Well, in elementary school, I played basketball, soccer, even volleyball, and then I played organized baseball outside of school, and I was really good at baseball.
Really?
Like, I made the majors, which is like 15-year-olds. I made that when I was 9.
What the
Like,
fuck?
Yeah, I was just a little fat kid, but dude, daddy could hit, daddy could field, daddy could do it all. Did I cry when I struck out? Sure. But we don't have to talk about that part.
That's so interesting. I never knew that you were
Yeah.
a sports dude.
Oh, dude.
Did it carry over into high school?
I played football in high school, but only 1 year, so not really.
What'd you play?
Kicker. What do you think I played?
And
I
there's
played
a-
one of them big workhorses up front.
Yeah,
dude.
there's a lot of positions on the
Yeah.
line. Which one were you?
Oh, I played tackle both ways.
Okay.
But my therapist asked me an interesting question this week about attention, because I was talking about how growing up a fat kid and I was class clown because like that was my defense. Like if you're making people laugh, like they're gonna like you, and then they're not gonna make fun of you because they know you're funny. You'll make fun of them even worse, right?
Right.
And we were talking about attention. We were actually talking about the podcast because it's done very well this first week. And we were talking just about the growth and how I feel about it. And it's very uncomfortable for me because I really enjoy doing the podcast, and I enjoy that we're putting it out. That's it for me. Like I didn't have social media for years. The only reason I got social media was because I was moving to LA and everyone said, you have to have social media. You have to have your brand. It's the only reason I have it. And you know my social media. There are no pictures of me. It's just photographs that I take and I put them up just so my page is active. And we were talking about this idea of attention. And of course, it comes back to, well, how did you feel about attention when you were a kid? And it was just, I liked the attention, but on my terms and when I wanted it. Like when I wanted to make you laugh, I'll make you laugh. If I didn't want to be seen, I'm going to be the most quiet little statue in the corner ever. And I didn't realize that had carried over into adulthood.
Interesting.
Did you know that?
Oh. Yeah. When we went to lunch a few weeks ago with a bunch of friends,
We talked about that on the pod.
Yeah, I was betting that you would say 3 fucking words the whole time, even now.
But I did it. I was.
You did
good
great.
I was good for the first half.
The first half.
And then the second half, I was like, okay. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just shut down.
We talk about this a lot when you and I hang out or go somewhere, and you'll be like, you have like this. You'll hit a mark, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Do you now
go listen to episode 2 called Stranger Danger?
Yeah.
I don't like strangers.
Do you think that is socially fair to do?
To who?
People you're with, people you're engaging with, people around you, everybody but you.
Yeah. Do you think it's fair to ask somebody to do something they're not comfortable doing?
No.
It's the same. So like,
I was just
no, yeah, you're fair. And I don't want my tone to come across like I think you asked me a fucked up question, because I don't. But yeah, I don't feel a sense of responsibility. Like I used to feel like I have to be the funny one. Like I have to make sure people are having a good time. I have to entertain. I don't feel like that anymore. So like I'll go out, I'll have a good time, but yeah, I am going to hit my social threshold, and then I don't want to do it anymore. I'll sit there and I'll listen and I'll chime in when it's fitting, but I'm not going to sit there and smile and look like I'm interested in what everyone's saying, because I'm not. This is a conversation. I'll chime in when it's fitting, and that's it.
You're not worried that you never worry about how that comes across?
No. Because one, I'm never going to be in a situation where the people at that table or in that circle don't know me. So anybody there, they know like, oh, he's tapped out socially. And anybody new there, someone there can explain it to them. They'll be like, yeah, don't worry. He tapped out. He's social anxiety. That's just what happens. It's not you. They go, oh, okay. That's fine.
Are you interested in working on that at all? Or
Not
are you okay
so
with
much.
You just accept it like, yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, because I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong here. I don't think it's wrong to be like, okay, this isn't enjoyable for me anymore. Or this now feels more like an obligation than it does an enjoy, like a thing I'm doing because I want to.
And that's more so what it is. You're not interested in working on changing that perspective to where it stays more interesting longer, or
I don't have control over how interesting something is and for how long it is. I don't have any control over that. And I understand that. Just like I understand if I'm in a conversation with somebody, there's a point in that conversation that I could lose them and they're like, God, I can't believe this guy's still talking. That's just what happens. It's part of life. And I think this is this kind of comes back to something we've talked about before, where you have this intrinsic need to be liked.
people pleaser, yeah.
And I don't have that. I couldn't give a fuck if you like me. The people I like me. And that's good enough for me. If you don't like me, that's fine. Because the thing is, dude.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes everything. Not everything is for everybody.
Right.
Like, you ever met a person that doesn't like chocolate?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? It doesn't make sense. And that's fine. But a lot of people do like chocolate. And that is just a big piece of chocolate, isn't it?
No, I knew you were going to go for this analogy, and no.
That was a joke. But that's my point. Is like, not everything, even...
You're more like coconut.
Was that a shape joke? We're talking about fucking body image all day. And you call me a round, furry coconut.
It's a texture thing. You're very textured.
A coconut?
Yeah, sometimes you ever bite into something, you're like so excited about something, and you bite into it, and you're like, is that fucking coconut? That's kind of how it is with you. You're like, oh, this is a cool new person, and you bite into it, you're like, oh, it's fucking coconut. I got tricked.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
As a former comedian, how do you feel when you're the only one laughing at your joke?
Oh,
do you love it?
Hey, guess what?
What?
I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks.
No, I know. I've seen you live. That's true. But I know what you mean. Yeah. You bite into yeah.
So I was reading these things on like how you're supposed to improve your self-image and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Today, prepping for the episode, because I know you're not going to do that. So here's what I learned.
I prepped for the episode. I had sex today. Is it different than reading a book?
This might help you.
I guess that was rhetorical. What's going to help me?
When you're looking in the mirror,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to preface with something else real quick.
Okay.
Because you go to the gym a lot and you know about what muscles do this and what area works that and all that stuff, and your body's a temple, blah, blah, blah. Listen.
I don't do the body's a temple, but I do work out a lot, yes. Yeah, I work out a lot. I understand that I'm thick, assholes.
Here's what's going to help you.
Yeah.
When you're seeing yourself in the mirror and you're seeing things that you don't or aren't happy with, think about positive things that body part is doing for you. So if it's your legs, if it's your arms, if it's your stomach, whatever, start naming things that you're grateful for.
Oh, jiggling? Cool. Sorry. Go ahead.
See?
I'm not good at this.
No, see? That's wrong.
Don't say wrong. It jiggles when I laugh.
So you could say, thank you, stomach, for jiggling. And when I laugh, it makes me laugh more. No, thank you for letting me know when things aren't okay. Thank you for this and that. Thank you, legs, for getting me down to be able to walk my dog this morning, things and that. Like, start thinking about the things that your body is doing for you, and specifically those body parts are doing for you.
I hear you.
Sounds silly.
That seems so silly. I struggle with the silly things. I get embarrassed, and I don't fucking know why, man. But yeah, that does make sense.
Who's gonna call you out?
Me. You think I won't look in the mirror and go, "Oh yeah, good talk, you fuck monkey"? You think I won't say that directly in the mirror? Of course I will.
That's not you.
No, I'm saying it out loud. That is me. That doesn't stay in
Try
there.
and do what my therapist said. Name that voice in your head. And
Cletus.
That way, there you go. And that way, when fucking Cletus runs his trap, then you can yell at Cletus and not yourself. When Cletus is like, look at that fucking tummy, you're like, shut the fuck up, Cletus. I'll beat your fucking ass. You say that out loud.
A little aggressive.
Yeah.
A little aggressive.
Well, you know.
Did you name yours?
I'm thinking about Frank.
It's the most boring fucking name.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't Cletus.
Yeah, well, Cletus was the first one that came to mind. It's not good. I understand that.
Yeah. Frank's a name you can, like, be mad at.
Frank.
Fucking Frank. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. It's a good one.
Shut the fuck up, Frank.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad at all. Brian. Brian's a good angry name.
Brian's a great.
Fucking Brian.
Because Brian doesn't sound like, you're like,
Yeah.
fucking, what does Brian know?
Yeah. I gotta think of a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's a good tip. I don't know, man.
Socially tapped out.
No, just wishing I was in better shape.